Hello, everybody, and welcome to Darts and Craft. Today, we'll be going through the UK Open, which finished up on Sunday with not so much of a shock winner. And then we'll be covering up the Premier League Darts Night 6 that's happening tonight in Nottingham. I can't believe it's week 6 already. First 5 weeks have flown in. But we'll be touching on the matches played in there tonight, current standings, what may go on. But while the iron's hot, we'll discuss the UK Open, which finished up on Sunday with the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and final. And a big shock and horror. Luke Littler, the unstoppable, won it. Defeated James Wade 11-7 in a repeat of last year, the previous year's final. Odd. It was a odd final. I think I was covering this on the Sports Talk Twitter feed and said easily Littler could have won 11-0 because James Wade for the first half of the match or more was not at the races. His scoring was atrocious. It looked tired. I suppose he has touched on it before where he says the longer formats when he's playing later on in the night he can get a bit of fatigue, and he said so much afterwards. But even with the fatigue, that was a very, very odd performance, especially as he'd just... I can't even describe how he played right before the final, because he outplayed and was fantastic against Gerwyn Price. And Gerwyn Price was not 100% Price, but he was pretty on the ball. And Wade in that semi-final was just hitting so many high scores, absolutely annihilating the doubles. Just I haven't seen him play that well with such hitting 180s, just high scoring, and then the double. Him on double 10 used to be the banker. It still is one of the most reliable finishes in darts, but against Price, he just had everything. And similar to the quarterfinals, his quarterfinals against Rob Cross, he's brought all the way to 10-9 and was just stunning. But I guess everybody will look back on his last 16. His last 16 match against Michael van Gerwen was out of this world. He beat him 10-3. Just Michael van Gerwen looked absolutely punch drunk by the end of it. It was just relentless hitting, relentless scoring. He continued that into the quarters with a steady finishing, relentless scoring. And then in the semi-final, you can't really blitz somebody when it's 11-8. It was a close match, but it was one that Wade always was ahead of. Price tried to fight back, and he did an admirable job. But Wade's scoring was just absolutely unbelievable. So to get into the final and then produce, no other word for it, a stinker, absolute stinker for the first 10 legs, and to actually be level pegging or to be that close right up until the last 4 legs. It was 7-all at one point. After 10 legs, I think he just got his average over 80 at that point, but was still in it. Littler, again, Dublin was really, really a source of... I don't want to call it concern, because he's won another major and he's got every single major under the belt now. He's holding every single major in darts except for the European Championship, which Jan van Veen holds, and I think that's going to be Littler's major motivation for the rest of this year. Obviously, he wants to win the World Match Play, which is the next big one, Premier League, of course unranked, but a major as well. He wants to get those ones, but in October it's going to be the European Championship, and he'll want to win that. To hold every major, if he wins the Premier League and then wins the European Championship, that's him holding every single major title in darts. I don't know. I wouldn't even imagine something like this happening. He's not turning 20 until January, so to do that by the age of 20 is just ludicrous. But no, he was given a helping hand, a massive helping hand in that win against Wade, because Wade just wasn't at the races. Wade, fair play to him, stuck in, was impressive in Dublin when Luke Littler just, his doubles have been very odd, but I don't even think he was... I almost felt like he didn't have to get a top gear in that match to Like, he didn't feel troubled. And when he did start feeling trouble at 7-all, maybe he was like, all right, that's enough of this. I remember Rocky, in the first Rocky film, when after the first round finishes, Apollo Creed goes into his corner, and I can't remember the name of the trainer, but he goes like, "This man thinks like he doesn't know it's a damn show. He thinks it's a damn fight." And that's what popped into my head when Littler was. He just like 7-all. No, that's enough. Like, yeah, like this may be a contest for him, but it's not for me. I'll just rattle off a couple of brilliant legs, and that'll get me over. But Wade played fantastically. Cannot take anything away from him. It was a poor performance in the final for the most part, until it was too late, really. And but his tournament was phenomenal. As I said, he beat Gerwyn Price, was just absolutely blew Price away, really, in the first 10 to 12 legs. Just absolutely diabolically good darts. So yeah, like that was his semi-final opponent. In the other semi-final was Josh Rock. I don't know. Like, Josh Rock will take positives out of this. It was 11-9, so it was pretty good. But it was a very, very no, it was a very good performance. But it's yet again a big match against Luke Littler, and he had a lead. He had a 5-1 lead, and it just vanished. Like a 5-all. He managed to hold and go 6-5 up, and it was very balanced. But like, to go 5-1 up, to have that lead against Littler, his finishing was rubbish. To be perfectly honest, between the semi-finals and the final, he obviously, it's first to 11 legs, so he won both, so got 22 legs. He had 67 shots at the double and got 22, so 32%. That's a problem. It's a problem if somebody else is on fire, or if he hasn't got the reputation he has. But I mean, I think Luke Littler could go 9-0 down in the first to 11. People wouldn't think he's not going to win. Like, it just seems to be the done deal now with Littler, and it's just a phenomenal record. But a record that he well deserves. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sort of like the Phil Taylor years. I tend to get a bit bored if one person's winning all the time, but it's different with Littler because he plays such ferocious darts. So I know Taylor was the aggressor all the time, but it's something different with Luke Littler. He's young, he brings in the swagger. It's harder to get really. It's harder to get annoyed at him. If it continues going for another 1-2 years, then we might be having a different conversation. But I think if Josh Rock sort of figures out that puzzle that's like stopping him, I think it is psychological more than anything for Josh Rock, because he was hitting absolutely clean, got the lead, and then went, oh God, I could win this. And then I think something clicks in his head. But I really hope it works out well for him in the Premier League, and like bodes well for him, because again, of course, he's winning, isn't it? But nope, we've got Luke Littler winning another major, all 3 this year, holding every single one bar the European Championship. So like, what more can you say about the man? He's absolutely stunning. But yeah, well, we'll see how he goes this week, because of course we've got Premier League darts night 6. Again, obviously for people who watch it, it's 4 quarterfinals. Each one's 4 quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals, all played first to 6 legs, and it's 5 points for the winner of the night, 3 points for the losing finalist, 2 points for the losing semi-finalists, and then of course if you don't get out of your quarter, you don't get a point. So after 5 weeks, the table is top Johnny Clayton on 14, John Van Veen, Gerwyn Price and Littler all on 9 points. We've got Michael Van Gerwen on 8 points in 5th, so he's outside the playoff spots at the minute. Luke Humphries, surprise of the Premier League season so far, he's down in 6th place with just 6 points. You have to make a final. Stephen Bunting won week 4. Bunting won, so he's got 5 points from it, but bar that, no wins. And Josh Rock, of course, bottom, 0 wins. And well, let's see how our matchup's going, if that can change this week, because he's first up tonight and he's playing Stephen Bunting. They were both at the start of week 4 on 0 points. Bunting was playing well, but just coming up against absolute worldly performances from his opponents. Josh Rock was not playing well, and other players could just sort of steamroll him. He got the 9-darter in Belfast, but bar that, and a pretty solid performance last week. It's not been a great Premier League season, so Rock will be hoping to up that. We'll be hoping his run to the semi-finals in the UK Open. Being able to go toe-to-toe for the most part with Littler, despite losing that lead. Hopefully he'll take the positives from that, and it could be a big step forward for him. But I'm going to go Rock in this one. I'm going to go Rock's going to get that win under the belt. He's hopefully got the momentum. Like, I can see him like kicking on from the UK Open, kicking off from a decent enough Premier League performance, even in defeat last week. And I'd say he's going to get over the line 6-4. 6-4. He'll play the winner of Johnny Clayton or Michael Van Gerwen. Clayton is Mr. Dependable. He's got a win every week so far. He's at least one win every week. He's won on one final. So he's picking up points. He's 14 points, and normally in previous seasons 24-ish point, like around 24 points, would be good enough to get through. I think bar an absolute collapse, Clayton's getting through. Michael Van Gerwen is an odd one. He lost in the last 16 against James Wade. It's hard to analyse his performance because Wade's performance was that good that I think if Littler had met that, James Wade, it could have been a different result. If that Wade had played in the final, I don't think anyone could have stopped him. Michael Van Gerwen's performance since coming back from his sickness in week 3 have not been brilliant. Find it hard to back him in this, especially say this Clayton's so dependable and seems to be in a pretty rich vein of form himself. So I'll go Clayton and I'll go 6-2 in this one. Now here we go for it. Luke Humphries, the man who everyone thought would challenge Luke Littler for top of the table in the Premier League, is currently struggling against Jan van Veen, possibly the man that, like, if Littler gets through and starts like playing, building on last week's win, will be the big challenge for everybody. Van Veen may be the new pretender, but I don't know. It's a tough one because Luke Humphries' form, his Dublin is just outrageously poor at the minute. It's nowhere near where he is. His scoring's still pretty consistent. There's a few darts that are straying randomly into like the 5s whenever he's going for a treble 20, so that's a bit of a concern. Don't know if there's anything else going on. I know a lot of players do talk about dartitis, which is like the release from the throw, like causes a motion where you don't release the dart in time. Like some of those stray 5s sort of would make you think that there's something going on with his release, but only he could tell. I'm not going to speculate on things I don't know about. So if he says something different, says there is maybe an issue going on, then fine. But it's just not very Luke Humphrey so far in the Premier League. Van Veen has been like super reliable. 9 points already in his first season. Racking up the final appearances. I see him winning this one unless Luke has got on, fixed this issue. Van Veen to win this one 6-3. Did I give a score in the Clayton match? 6-4 for Clayton over Van Gerwen. And then the final one, this is the test for Luke Littler. He's facing Gerwyn Price. Gerwyn Price is in the top 4 positions at the minute. So is Luke Littler sneaking last week after his win. Well, this Littler, last week's Littler and the UK Open Littler be the Littler that shows up against Price. I imagine will be. I imagine now he's got that win. He's won the UK Open. He'll be full of beans. Probably in exhibition mode. There's a couple of darts that he played were a bit cocky in the UK Open against Wade, but we'll give him that. Like I like cocky. But I don't think he'll do that in the first to 6. I think his lead was sizable. He knew Wade wasn't on form, so I don't think he'll do this in the first to 6. Because if you lose one leg from playing a ridiculous exhibition shot, you could end up being 2-0, 3-0 behind before you know it. So I'd say he'll have his head screwed on tonight. Price, again, much like Van Gerwen in the UK Open, it's hard to judge his performance against Wade as a bad one, because he kept in tooth and nail when Wade was just flying through the scores, like hitting every double. He kept in, was so fiery, so determined in himself that he could still win it at any point. That it's I love, like I've said before, I said in the last week's show that he's my favorite player. I know some people don't like his theatrics, his loudness, his like, rah, come on, or his booyahs, but massive fan. Give me them all day. Over at like sort of silent tennis style fist bump at the end of every point. It's darts, and that's what darts is for, entertainment. So like, keep us entertained, Gerwin. My heart says Price. My head says Littler, and my head's wiser than my heart, so I'll go Littler 6. Gerwin Price likes a 6-5, so I'll go 6-5 to Littler. Which leaves the semi-finals in my head anyway, as Josh Rock, Johnny Clayton, Luke Humphries, and Luke Littler. So Battle of the Lukes. Again, has he fixed this issue? Maybe. Yeah, if he gets through, I think if he fixes his issues, he'll get through in that quarterfinal. So I'll say Luke Humphries, Luke Littler. And I think Luke Littler will win. I just don't see anyone really challenge him when he's in full flow, and I think he will want to do back-to-back wins just to consolidate last week, to build that momentum. And you know what, he could go on 4 or 5 in a row, and that's him. Like, I'd say he just wants to secure his place in the last 4 now. So I'll go Luke Littler for the final, and I'll go Josh Rock versus Johnny Clayton. I mean, Clayton's so dependable. I do feel like Josh Rock will turn a corner though, so I'll go Josh Rock for that semi-final, and I'll go Josh Rock 6-2. So a 6-2 for Josh Rock over Johnny Clayton, and 6-2 for Littler over Humphries, which sets up a Littler Rock final. Oh yeah, it's exactly what Josh Rock wants, is to play Luke Littler in a final. I mean, it'd be brilliant if he started off like he did in the UK Open semi and got himself like up to 5-4-0, 5-1 lead, up and first up to 6. Don't see that happening, but I do see Rock able to put up a fight against Littler. I mean, it's hard to back against Littler in anything, let alone, but his Premier League form has been a bit iffy until last week. So, where'll I go? I'll go Littler. What a shock. I'll go Littler 6-4. 6-4 to win it for Littler. But it should be a fantastic night. As for most weeks, it starts at 7:10. That's UK time, so that's 2:10 Eastern. And it's available on FanDuel Extra TV. I think that's via Pluto TV. So that's available to watch for anyone in America. There's also PDC like TV options. If you can't get watching it, feel free to go onto Sports Talk Florida's Twitter, banner at the bottom of the page there, and I'll be doing sort of live tweet coverage from the games from like 7 o'clock UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern onwards, and then a leg by leg breakdown of the final as it happens. So there you go. Shock and horror. Littler's won another major. Littler's probably going to win tonight. Littler's probably going to win so many darts tournaments that like he'll probably end up accidentally winning tournaments in other sports as well. He's just that good at the minute. But no, I think we've covered everything. I'll be back next week, obviously before the Premier League night 7. But anyone wanting to go onto Twitter, feel free to go onto our Sports Talk Florida Twitter page, and I'll be updating everybody today. Thanks so much for watching live, or anyone on catch up as well. Thanks so much as well. I'm Patrick McKiernan. Hope you enjoyed my brilliant high-tech background where I'm blocking the actual darts. Enjoy the darts tonight, everybody, and see you next week. Take care and enjoy your weekends as well.